Welcome to another edition of Conversations with CommerceNext, where we sit down with industry leaders, talk about important topics. Today, I am excited to sit down with Omer Bar Joseph, who is the VP of SMS at Yotp. And this is a really hot topic. We saw SMS really surge during the pandemic. And again, during the holiday season of 2020, it has just continued on a roll through 2021. And so I'm excited to learn more about it. And I couldn't think of some better person to go into some detail about what's going there. So Omer, welcome to Conversations with CommerceNext. How are you doing today?
Very good. Thanks for having me, Scott. Excited to be here.
Good. Well, maybe just start off, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you ended up at Yotp and your current role there.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So I joined Yotpo almost 5 years ago. Prior to that, I was actually in a completely different career. I was in the Israeli Air Force for many years, and I did a bunch of different roles there, both operational and strategic. Together with moving to New York from Israel, I kind of looked for my next career and decided to join the tech company, and specifically Yotpo in e-commerce tech. So I joined Yotpo in early 2017, and since then kind of been a part of this crazy ride of the company. In Yotpo, I did a few different roles. I started in product marketing. I built the product marketing function at Yotpo. Transitioned into a VP operations role. For a few years, I was mostly responsible for the two acquisitions and mergers that Yotpo had during those years. We acquired a loyalty and referrals company in 2018 and an SMS company in January 2020. So a very interesting experience integrating those two companies into Yotpo. And in the last year, I've been leading our SMS business line as the general manager of Yotpo SMS, overseeing this fast-growing business for Yotpo.
And just for a little bit of context, where does SMS fit into Yotpo's overall business?
Yeah, so Yotpo started from reviews and ratings. This is also probably what we're most known for. We did only that for many years since Yotpo was established almost 11 years ago, 10 and a half years ago. When we entered into the loyalty space, we also, it was together with introducing our vision of building an e-commerce marketing platform, which will offer an integrated set of solutions and consolidate the marketing stack of e-commerce marketeers into under one roof. An average marketeer is using e-commerce marketing is using between 15 to 20 different marketing solutions today, which creates a very broken experience for the end consumer, the shopper, and also makes it very hard to control and facilitate from the brand side. And Yotpo's vision is to consolidate that under one roof. SMS is our first communication channel that we're introducing on top of reviews and loyalty, and allows us now not only to collect data, have reviews and ratings on your website and other assets, build loyalty programs, but also to communicate with your customers through this channel. And it fits on top of our platform, and it's one of the first communication channels that we're introducing. There are more things that we're working on in the future as well.
So, Yotpo made it pretty easy to kind of dive into this topic because it did a survey of about 2,000 consumers in July of this year about how they use SMS. And one of the things that I found really interesting is that consumers will only select a very small number of brands or retailers to interact with via SMS. In fact, for every consumer, they may interact with between 1 and 4 brands. And that seems to put a lot of pressure on a retailer or a brand to be that chosen one or chosen 2 or 3 or 4. Maybe you could, Omer, tell us a little bit about, how the brands, what they're doing to create that kind of relationship with the consumer. And I'm assuming it varies depending on the purpose of SMS for that particular consumer or how the brand's using it. But Maybe you could give a couple examples of where it really resonates with consumers that they decide to kind of, make it one of their small group that they'll interact that way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, how do you make that short list of brands for the consumers? Definitely one of the biggest questions we're dealing with. So first, I'll say that SMS is on the rise, right? We're seeing the amount of interest. It's becoming a very attractive communication channel for brands and consumers, mostly in the US, but also globally. And this channel is seeing tremendous growth, but we also think that it's still the beginning, meaning I think that the consumers are still kind of learning this channel. And the reason why, from the survey that we did with consumers, we saw that they're only choosing between 1 to 4 brands to communicate with through text, is also because it's still not in the mature place that maybe email is at today, and consumers are still learning also the benefits of using this channel. I do think that this number will go up over time, meaning we're looking at 1 to 4 right now. I believe the number will be higher next year, and that's very good. That's good news for brands. But still, like you said, there is a limit, right? A consumer will choose either 4 or slightly more brands that they want to communicate with via text. And the question comes of how do I make that shortlist, and how can I get to be one of those brands? And I think that what we're seeing with our customers is that there's 2 different angles that you need to look at in order to answer that question. First is how can I make it as easy and attractive for my consumers to subscribe to my program? That's the first piece. The second piece is how do I get them to stay subscribed over time? It's not enough to just get them subscribed. You also need to get them to stay with you. And I'll touch both of them because I think it's very important to make that distinction and have a plan in place and a strategy in place for both of these 2 aspects. The first one is how do I make it easy for them to subscribe and attractive for them to subscribe? And here, as you said, it varies. It really depends on your industry, your consumers, who they are. But what we see here that's working for brands is the first piece is making it very easy, meaning you need to understand what's the journey that your customers, your consumers go through when they engage with your brand, whether it's on your site, whether it's on social media, whether it's in store if you have brick and mortar, and make it very easy for them all along the way to subscribe to your program. And Yotp offers today a lot of different tools to help you do that. Streamline the subscription process. Consumers today are not very patient. They're usually on their mobile if they're shopping online, and they want it to be easy. They'll have obstacles subscribing, they will not complete the subscription. So having different tools that align with the stage of your customer and as part of his shopping journey will be the first barrier kind of to jump across and allow customers to subscribe easily. I can go through, of course, examples of the different tools, whether it's a pop-up that is activated smartly on your website when you have either new visitors or returning customers, whether it's a floating button which goes with you together as you shop and offers a certain incentive to subscribe, or checkout, which is a very good place to collect phone numbers. In store, we are now under kind of the COVID rise of QR codes. We're also implementing QR codes, whether it's in store or in inserts in packages to make it very easy to customers to subscribe to your program. So there's a lot of different tools to increase those and make it very easy on your consumers to subscribe.
Yeah, what about the value proposition to the consumer? I mean, I can see like 2 very clear use cases. One where you're getting like early access to product or offers or something like that. The other, just simply getting discounts and staying engaged with them. Do you like find that retailers need to like pick a theme for the way that they engage with their customers or can they promise all of the above and deliver that and keep them subscribed?
Yeah, so that takes me to the point that it needs to be attractive for consumers to subscribe. They won't just volunteer to give you their phone number. There needs to be a reason for them. So as even if you make it as easy as possible, you still need some kind of incentive in place. And when I say incentive, it doesn't mean necessarily a discount. I think the first thing that we see brands doing intelligently is describing, and that's not kind of obvious, is describing to the consumer what are they going to get by subscribing. I think a common mistake is just have something very plain, sign up to our VIP text program without any explanation, without articulating what am I getting in return. This is an exchange that you're doing with your consumers, and then you first need to outline what are you offering. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be discounts. In many cases, we definitely recommend, we believe that an incentive in form of discount will increase your subscribe rates. But even if you are able to articulate other benefits, and we see brands giving different perks like early access, exclusivity, events, invite to focus groups. There's plenty of ways to kind of position your SMS program, but you need to articulate that, explain that, so customers understand what they're signing up for. An incentive definitely is important for brands. Most of our brands also use us for loyalty, and this is a great place where you can combine the two and not necessarily offer just a discount, but rather loyalty points or other perks that you have as part of your loyalty membership. And it also varies with who is your audience, and are they more likely to use discount and more attracted to discount, and also your brand strategy. But definitely, it's not enough to just enter your phone number field. It has to come with strategy in place, and most importantly, articulate to your consumers what are they getting in return to subscribe.
So I'd love to hear a couple examples of some kind of smarter approaches to SMS that you've seen, given all the different brands and retailers that you're working with. Some that kind of stood out, you were impressed, it was unique, or there was a lot of consistency in what they did, or what made them successful in these implementations.
Yes, for sure. And that also connects to what I said earlier about how do you get your consumers to stay subscribed, right? So you were able to get them to subscribe. You offered either an incentive or made it attractive, and you made it easy for them to subscribe. But now, how do you keep them subscribed? And what's special about SMS is that it's very easy to opt out. And I think that's actually a good thing, because as opposed to email, where you get a lot of subscribers that just ignore, they don't open the email, and they never unsubscribe, and it's very hard to understand your performance. With SMS, you either make your program relevant and interesting, or people will just reply with stop if they feel that the content is irrelevant for them. They will not stay subscribed. And I think that's kind of what makes this channel very intimate, because you are continuing to engage with your subscribers that want to hear from you. They are willingly staying in your program. They're opening your text. Text open rate is about 98%. They're not just leaving it unopened. They're seeing your text, and they decide over and over again to continue being subscribed, and they want to get more. And the question is, how do you do that? And how do you keep your unsubscribe rates very low? And how do you keep your SMS program very engaging and relevant? And I have a few examples of brands that are really kind of leading the way and paving the way in terms of how you run a successful SMS program. I think one of the examples that I like most are brands that are using the conversational aspect of SMS, and the fact that it's also very easy to talk with your customers through this channel, as opposed maybe to email, where you don't really start a conversation. And that's why that's so important. Besides, I think with the fact that it delivers a really great experience for the consumers and your subscribers, it also allows you to build a much more relevant program for them. If you want to send content that is relevant and interesting for your subscribers, you need to learn about them. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Some of the brands that are just blasting promos to their entire list without getting any data or segmenting usually see less success than brands that are taking a more intelligent approach of learning about their customers, what are their preferences, and then building a program that is tailored to those subscribers by dividing them into segments. And you can leverage the conversational aspect of SMS to learn about your customers. When someone subscribes to your program, instead of just starting to blast the next campaign and the next promo, ask them, why are they here for? What is their preferences? Maybe you have a few categories on your website. Maybe you have a few different offers or content that you can send with them, whether it's maybe they want to hear about promotions, maybe they want to hear about new products, maybe they want to hear about other branding activities. So use this channel to learn about these consumers and collect this data, use it then to build a tailored program that is with relevant content, that is engaging for them, that they signed up for. And this is, I think, the leading example of how to use SMS as a channel that is effective, engaging, and relevant over time.
So, yeah, I mean, I'd like to go a little bit to understand how the retailers are managing this on their end. And you talk about this being a conversation. And before I even get to the resources required to this, I'm kind of curious from your perspective is when do you make this transition from SMS marketing to chat? I mean, do you see a distinction there? Does the customer, I would imagine the customer, if you have a dialogue and let them ask questions, they're going to just run with it that way. So I'm kind of curious if these programs get conflated in any way, and if that's good.
It's a very good question, and we're having a lot of conversation with our brands on this specific topic. I think that if you are treating SMS as this only as a marketing channel that is one-to-many, meaning I'm going to send you a text, you're going to read it, and you can either click on the link and shop or not. It means that you're basically replicating your strategy for email and not adapting it to SMS. And we see brands doing that. They take their email copy, they shorten it a bit, they maybe do some tweaks so it fits this new medium of SMS. But we believe that that's not leveraging this channel to the value that it has. And our leading brands, the ones that are really seeing an enormous amount of success on this channel, are also using the conversational aspect from it. So you ask, how can you do that? How can you still run an SMS marketing program, but still engage with your customers in a conversational way through text? So we also, and also the question about is it scalable, right? How can I really answer every single subscriber? So our approach there and what our platform offers is first, you send those campaigns, you send those promos. This is important, of course. It's a major part of why your subscribers signed up. But you allow them to respond. And it's either you are even prompting them to respond by asking them questions. Some of it can be automated, by the way, through keywords. You can give them a few options and they can reply, and that automatically is then captured in the system. You don't even need to have people go through the responses. But what we also do is we integrate with all of the leading help desk softwares that e-commerce brands use today, and streamline the responses to your help desks and make it a very easy and part of your already built-in support process to answer those questions. You can make it also as a different channel that is more relevant to the content that you're sending through text. And by that, you're giving your shoppers exclusive feeling that it's not just a blast channel, that they're just watching it and they're not part of the conversation, but rather they're responding, you're responding back. It gets them to feel that they're really texting with their brand, that the brand really cares about what they have to say, and we see much higher engagement when taking that approach. So I do believe that the best way to utilize SMS marketing is to use the conversational aspect and not ignore it. And we see more and more brands getting there right now and opening that communication back and forth with the client, not running away from it. And there's a lot of ways to automate it, optimize it, and make it scalable as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting to think about how retailers and brands can be organized to optimize SMS. Because on one hand, you talked about, skills and technology that you see in things like email with segmentation and things like that. But then as you get into more conversational, it feels like there's someone who might be really good on the social media side, engaging with customers there. But what's the ideal team to support SMS? And what are you seeing from the companies you work with? Are we, what kind of new titles might be being created to support this channel?
Yeah. So first, these are still, I would say, even though that we see such a big adoption, it's still early days. And I'm confident that in a year from now, you will have SMS director of SMS marketing in e-commerce brands. Today, usually what we see is that it starts as an extension of email. So the director of email marketing, if the brand has an email marketing team, if not, part of the commerce team will kind of take this as a side gig. And that's why also we internally decided to really support our brands with resources and in type of like an agency type of approach internally, either connecting them with agencies that are already adopting SMS. We also have a large team of customer success managers and SMS strategists that this is their day-to-day. They work with brands and they're becoming an extension of their team, and they're educating them and sometimes hands-on, building the copy, building the segmentation, and sending campaigns on behalf of the brands, because we're still seeing, e-commerce brands are still with relatively small teams and still adjusting to this new channel. They don't necessarily have the bandwidth today to really fully optimize it. So I think that definitely we will see this becoming a function of its own in these companies. We will see dedicated resources, dedicated budgets. Of course, we already are seeing that allocated to SMS, and that will change dramatically over time. I will say that from the brands that we're working with, what we usually see if they're just starting out on SMS is this gradual approach. They lean a lot on us to guide them, to give them the best practices. We work with so many brands in so many industries right now, so we can really help them get started, see value. It's a very, it's a performance marketing channel, so see the data. Once they see the just phenomenal return on investment, and SMS right now is by far the most effective tool, definitely comparing it to other channels like email or ads, Facebook and Google ads, they're starting to allocate more budgets and opening a position, hiring someone that would be dedicated to that. So we usually see that transformation with our customers, and I believe it's a matter of time until it just becomes a regular position in each and every single e-commerce brand.
So looking ahead, it seems like there's a lot of things that could affect SMS, the consumer technology, devices, things like privacy restrictions. According to Mark Zuckerberg, we're all going to be in the metaverse. There's probably more than anyone can follow closely, but are there a couple things that you think anyone who's invested in SMS needs to really be looking at closely to stay a little bit ahead of the curve?
Yeah, for sure. So we still haven't kind of planned for the metaverse yet. We'll need to think internally how that affects our roadmap. But for sure, there's been a lot of changes in the last year, and we expect this kind of trend to continue. And I'm talking mostly about the privacy changes. What we're seeing is that third-party data is becoming less and less reliable, whether it's the Google changes, the death of the cookie, so-called iOS 15 now introduced, and we're completely changing the game when it comes to email marketing, which used to be and still is the backbone of e-commerce marketing. And brands need to adopt and adjust and kind of rethink their strategy. And I think it plays out very well with SMS, and actually increases the importance of this channel. And the main reason is that SMS is what we call, or what maybe I call, a zero-party data channel. You are not reliant on anyone else but yourself. You are collecting the phone numbers on your own, according, of course, to all the compliance restrictions, TCPA, CTIA. In every country, it's different. But as long as you're collecting the phone numbers compliantly, you are able to then start your SMS marketing program and engage with those subscribers. There's a lot of data that you can collect through this channel. Of course, what I talked about earlier is also making it as part of the conversation and learning more about your subscribers as part of your text marketing program. And by that, you're basically creating a channel that is not dependent on any third party, any cookies. And it's something that I think is critical now more than ever. And I think will become even more critical as those privacy, we continue seeing more privacy restrictions. And I think if I can give one advice for brands that are still learning the changes and trying to rethink kind of what are their plans for 2022, is first and foremost to start collecting phone numbers. I think a lot of brands are used to making email the most important data that you want to collect from every visitor. I don't think that should change. Still continue to collect emails, but you need to start collecting phone numbers compliantly from your subscribers. The sooner you start, the better. Even if you don't have an SMS marketing program or strategy in place yet, it's totally fine. You don't have to, but at least start collecting the numbers, because it's important to get a head start and build this channel. So when you are ready, you already have a big enough list, which sometimes can take time to build.
All right. Well, this has been really helpful, and learned a lot about this growing channel. And what's interesting, the way you're positioning it, is it's addressing a lot of the big issues in the industry, the kind of the decline of third-party data, the need to be more conversational, addressing, all of these privacy issues, and they all seem very closely tied into SMS marketing. So thank you, Omer, for a great overview. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Scott. It was great being here and giving the opportunity to share my insights.
All right. Well, until next time, thank you all for tuning in to Conversations with Commerce Next.